Howdy folks, I'm Fearsome Fairy, fiendishly feasting on favored flowers.
I'm Amber.
And here are more favored flowers for us to feast upon, and what else are you going to eat when you're that small, right? So let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Publicly Calling Out My Coworker After She Spread Rumors That I Was Cheating on My Wife? I'm a 33-year-old male, and I've been married to my wife, a 31-year-old female, for 6 years. We've always had a very solid relationship. Recently, my wife has been dropping by my office occasionally during her lunch breaks because she works nearby. She's very friendly with everyone, and she'll sometimes bring me coffee or lunch. I've noticed a few of my coworkers, especially one in particular, Sarah, a 28-year-old female, giving her odd looks. Well, it turns out that Sarah decided to interpret these visits as suspicious. She started gossiping to others in the office that my wife wasn't really my wife, but some woman that I was seeing on the side. She even claimed that she had proof because she saw my wife give me a kiss goodbye in the parking lot. Yeah, no kidding, she's my wife. Well, this all came to a head last week when I overheard Sarah telling 2 colleagues that I was ruining my marriage and that she felt bad for my poor wife at home. I lost it. I walked right up to her and I said loudly enough for everyone to hear, Sarah, that woman you saw with me was my wife. And the only wife I have. Next time you want to invent stories about me, at least get your facts straight before slandering someone's marriage. The office went silent, and Sarah turned beet red. She started crying and rushed out. I immediately went to HR and I told them what happened, that she had been spreading harmful rumors, and that I didn't want to tolerate it anymore. HR said that they would quote-unquote handle it, but then told me privately that I should have kept quiet because Sarah is going through a divorce and probably projected her own issues. Now I feel conflicted. On one hand, I had every right to defend myself and my wife's reputation. On the other hand, maybe I shouldn't have embarrassed her in front of everyone and just gone to HR in private. Alright folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. She embarrassed herself by spreading these rumors. Her going through a divorce does not give her license to mistreat her coworkers and spread lies about them.
You have bigger problems in your organization. The fact that HR is telling you private stuff on the side about your coworker, what in the world is going on with this HR department that they are like talking about other people's private lives without their consent?
I mean, that's a really good point that I hadn't even thought of.
Yeah, there's a lot going wrong here, and the fact that the HR knows Sarah well enough kind of tells me that maybe the HR is friends with Sarah. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter if she's going through a divorce or not. She can't be spreading false rumors like this, right? This could be damaging to OP's reputation at work, and that's not good, right? It could impact how other people at work see them. But yeah, Sarah just needs to mind her own business, and also HR needs to not spread people's personal information around, because next time who's gonna be spread? What's HR gonna say about OP, right? So yeah, but let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Destro23 says, what in the actual world? Is Sarah friends with HR? This person just opened up the firm to a slam dunk hostile work environment lawsuit. Just tolerate the slander and the slandering employee because the slandering employee is sad. And in regards to going to HR in private, it sounds like if you had done that, nothing would have happened at all. I'm guessing that's probably the case. And Acceptable Pops says, I would go overhead because HR didn't care when she was doing it only when OP told them. And Prestigious Grape 288 says, yep, this is where I engage with HR's manager. Sarah is the one creating the problem, full stop. Let's all just let the sad person do what they want. Ain't no corporate policy on that. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Again, this sounds more like the HR person is Sarah's friend and trying to justify and protect Sarah as opposed to doing their job. And Remy93 says, was she being private when she was slandering you? No, she got what she deserved. And Both Atmosphere 1674 says, not the jerk. BS tears by someone being called out on their lying in front of everyone. Sarah can project her BS elsewhere and not at work, causing the issues with lies. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Today I Messed Up by Microwaving My Socks at Work. And this one's a little gross, folks, because it's involving microwaving socks. So I biked to work, and this morning it poured on me halfway there, and my shoes and socks were absolutely soaked. By the time that I got to the office, my feet were pruned like raisins. I thought, okay, I'll just dry them out real quick in the break room microwave. I'd seen people do gloves in there before, no big deal. Well, I take off my socks, I toss them in for 2 minutes, and then I go back to my desk. About 45 seconds in, I smell something awful, like burnt hair mixed with wet dog. And then a fire alarm goes off. Turns out the synthetic material in my socks basically melted and filled the entire office with smoke. Everyone evacuated. Building management shows up, asks where the fire was, and all my coworkers are standing around shivering in the parking lot while I have to admit that it was my socks. Now the microwave is trashed. HR sent an email reminding everyone not to cook clothing, and I have achieved permanent nickname status of Hot Socks. All right, folks, what do you think?
Don't microwave your socks. That's just gross. I mean, if you want to do it in your own home, like whatever. But
Don't microwave your socks, even in your own home.
I mean, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. But like, I was like, I can't tell you not to destroy your own personal property. But like, do not put stuff you put on your feet in a communal space.
Yeah, okay. So there's a lot of stuff that's gone wrong here, right? First off, anything that you microwave that isn't microwave safe, I mean, and I'm including food as microwave safe, mind you, right? It doesn't have to explicitly have the microwave safe label on it. But if something isn't microwave safe, then you run the risk of contaminating your microwave with toxic chemicals, right? And I would imagine that the socks incident would be a perfect example of that, right? If OP hadn't burned their socks, then they would have likely left both bacteria in their microwave and toxic fumes that could have contaminated people's food, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this just can't be understated. Like, you should not use your microwave for stuff like this. And gloves, these people who are using their gloves in the microwave also need to cut it out. Don't microwave, gloves in the microwave.
I mean, I just feel like stick to food.
Yeah.
Stick to food
Yeah.
in microwave safe containers.
Yeah. And then 2 minutes? 2 minutes? Who puts wet socks in a microwave for 2 minutes on top of that, right? Like, that's a recipe for disaster. That's like boiling water levels of hot, right? If you want to boil water, you put it in for 2 minutes, and that's like 8 ounces or more of water. I can't imagine socks that aren't even like 8 ounces of water being put in the microwave for 2 minutes. What is wrong with this person?
Well, to be fair, it was one time I was babysitting this kid and he wanted me to microwave an egg for him. And I'd never microwaved eggs. And so I was like, how long do you microwave them for? Assuming this was something he did all the time. He's like, 10 minutes. And so I put the egg in the microwave for 10 minutes and it exploded after about a minute.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I can see, like, if you don't understand, if you never microwave something or something like that, you were trusting them and that what they actually had to say, whereas OP, had to put actual, like, thought process into, like, microwaving the socks. And maybe you can just lose track and not really understand those kinds of things, but it's always better to start off small with microwaving things than to jump straight into the 10-minute mark. That's all I can say. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Oxygen13 says, I mean, yeah, that's amusing, but I would never consider putting what could be considered stinky underwear in something that people use for food. What's next? Boxer shorts in the toaster? And Acid Casually 25 says, seriously, that's disgusting. Thank goodness it destroyed the microwave. If I had to heat up my lunch in a place where someone just dried out his socks, I would go postal. Everyone's food is going to taste like wet socks for like a month. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, I sometimes pretend to get fired when customers scream at me, and it weirdly makes me feel better. So I'm in college, and I work on weekends at this little diner near the campus. Most of the regulars are chill, but every now and again you get someone who just shows up looking for a fight. It's always over the dumbest stuff, too. Like they'll explode because their toast is too crispy, or their coffee isn't boiling hot. Well, one time, this older guy completely lost it on me over how his eggs were cooked. I couldn't do anything about it. They were literally fine, but he wouldn't stop yelling. My manager, who's about my age, and also a student, stepped in and just goes, "That's it, you're fired." I played along, I took off my apron, and I started fake begging, like, please, I need this job. I'm paying my way through college. I can't lose it. And he stayed stone cold. The guy who was raging instantly panicked and started saying, no, 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 it's not that serious. Don't fire them. It's fine. He went from furious to apologizing in about 5 seconds. We've done it a couple more times since then when people come in acting like they're complete monsters. Every single time the angry person backs down. It actually kind of feels satisfying watching them realize that their meltdown might actually have consequences for someone just trying to survive. I told some friends about it, and they're saying that it's messed up because those people probably go home thinking that they cost some broke college kid their job. But I don't feel guilty. If you can't treat workers with basic decency, maybe you deserve a little wake-up call. That's it. Just needed to get that off my chest. All right, folks, what do you think?
Bravo, OP. I think that very well done. These people deserve to understand, like, it's not cool to just go around berating people for kicks and giggles.
Mm-hmm. I think that's really what it boils down to. And everyone acts like negative emotions are bad. Like, feeling guilt or remorse over things, that's good.
It is
right?
good. It will hopefully inspire you to do better the next time. Like,
Yeah.
it's very uncomfortable in the moment, but that discomfort is very important to motivate you to be a better person.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really important for people to actually feel guilt over their actions. And so often times in our society, we try to sugarcoat everything and make it so that people don't feel bad about things. No, if you come in and you berate somebody and you basically are acting like they should be fired, well, don't be surprised when they get fired, right? And you should feel guilty about it, especially if it's a completely undeserved on their part, right?
Right. Well, you shouldn't berate people in general.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like a very minor inconvenience type level things. Like,
Yeah.
be nice to service workers.
Yeah. Like, I could understand their reaction here if like OP literally put like rat poison on their food. It's like a garnish. Here, have some rat poison. Like, yeah, of course, I would be upset too about that,
And
right?
then OP should rightly be fired.
Yeah, OP would be rightly fired in
And
that
have the
situation.
police called
right? Yeah.
for attempted murder.
Yeah, all those kinds of things, right? But I mean, just like eggs that weren't quite the way you wanted them, the exact, like, very, very specific type of way that you want your eggs, like, you can't be too picky here, right? And then berating the server who isn't the person who actually cooked
Well,
the
something to
food.
add too, yeah. Like, the cook is the one who's doing all the preparing. Not that you should berate the cook either, but like, servers just bring your plate back and forth.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, I don't think that OP is doing anything here that warrants guilt. Maybe it's a little bit of a morally gray area, but I would say that the people who are doing this are far worse in this situation. Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. Centrifuge.
I mean, I guess we know that. Okay, we've had enough of your centrifuge. This is totally uncalled for. OP is not in the wrong for this. But I bet the wheel doesn't tip either. I bet they
Yeah.
berate workers and don't tip.
I would pin that on the wheel. And Zulwama says, works out for all parties. I see nothing wrong. And OP replies, glad it isn't. And Yurt Lizard says, I've been in the restaurant business for 30 years and I fully support you. This is great. And OP replies, thank you. And Clobberella says, your friends aren't thinking forward enough. Yes, they go home feeling guilt, but that guilt will prevent them from abusing another retail worker in the future. So it's a net good. And OP replies, that's a really thoughtful way of looking at it. Short-term guilt can actually create long-term positive change. Sometimes feeling bad is exactly what teaches empathy and prevents future harm. And Dinesel's Epic says, normalize people feeling remorse for their terrible actions. And OP replies, absolutely, feeling remorse isn't a weakness, it's a sign of awareness and growth. Everyone makes mistakes, but acknowledging them is how we actually learn to do better. Alright folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
What do you get if you cross a Steinbeck classic with irate zombies?
A Steinbeck classic? Yeah. Oh. You know, I embarrassingly can't remember any Steinbeck books off the top of my head.
I can remember one.
Well, what do we get?
Graves of Wrath.
Of course. I should have realized that.
And it's Bookshop Day today, and also Kindness to Animals Day.
So go find yourself a bookshop and be kind to the animals inside, especially if they're humans. And I have a special guest tea. It's the cinnamon apple tea that I've had before. I was kind of feeling in a fall-y type mood, you know?
It's a great fall tea.
And then just a few seconds ago, while Amber was telling her joke, I tried to inhale it, but I also didn't want to like cough and stuff like that. And so I was like, had it like this awkward voice thing. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Spectacular Saturday, folks. I hope your Saturday is off to a spectacular start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on work etiquette stuff.
Don't microwave your socks or any undergarments at work. Or don't put your clothes in the microwave in general.
I think that's a good sound piece of advice. One that I would never have thought that we would have to have said here,
I
but
know.
here you go. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.